Welcome to my Rolling Stones museum. I've been collecting Rolling Stones records and memorabilia for over 50 years, and I'd love to share my collection with you. Some of the things I have to offer are common, that you've seen before. Some things are somewhat more rare, that you may or may not have seen or have in your collection, and some things are very rare that maybe you didn't know existed or never saw before. So please enjoy. This is going to be part one, the 1960s. This is where it all started in America. In 1964, the Rolling Stones' first album, England's Newest Hitmakers, on London Records. And this is a white label promo and poster. And you can see the sticker, promotion copy, not for sale, and the sticker for the free full color poster that came with the album. This is the white label on the album. It says made in England, not for sale, full frequency range recording. And this is the poster that came inside the album. Not quite as big as the album, but it was a nice color photo. This one's in pretty good shape, nice creases, and of course it was blank on the back, but a nice copy of the promotional poster that came with the first album. Of course, the inner sleeves came with a nice plastic bag and paper cover combination. On London Records, you could see the ear label, the full frequency range recording inner sleeve. And of course, to coincide with the first album came their first single with picture sleeve. This is Not Fade Away, a very nice color copy with the same photo from the album. And it's the same on the other side as well. Here's a little promo postcard, tiny little card, that was also released around the time of their first visit in 1964. This is a very rare promo copy of their first single, Not Fade Away. The label is black and white, and you could see it says promotional copy. And the flip side, of course, is the Lennon-McCartney tune, I Want to Be Your Man, and this is in the orange London sleeve. This is the alternate promo for Not Fade Away. This is on a white label with open London, and it says promotional copy, not for sale. And also the flip side, I Want to Be Your Man, promotional copy, not for sale, made in USA. Now here's a 45 that really doesn't exist. Just prior to Not Fade Away, the Stones tried to release a song called Stoned, and this is a promotional copy on the black and white London label, very rare. This was not really released. A limited number of regular copies got out, and a handful of these promotional copies. And the flip side is also the Lennon-McCartney I Want to Be Your Man promotional copy, the black and white sleeve. Interestingly, in England, just prior to 1964 and 1963, they did release Stoned, which was not able to be released in America, and this is on Decca Records, and the flip side is I Want to Be Your Man, also the Lennon-McCartney song, but you can see here it's spelled the single Stoned. But now by mistake, some of these records in 1963 in England in Decca got out by mistake. Notice how it says Stones instead of Stoned. So only a handful of these exist. Somewhat rare. You may have seen these before. Also backed with I Want to Be Your Man. But interesting, Stoned was Stoned. Stones. So coinciding with the Stones' first trip to America in 1964, a bunch of books came out. Of course, over the years, hundreds of Rolling Stones books have come out. This was a paperback, Our Own Story. It's a pretty good book. It's got the history of each individual member, and it's a paperback with a lot of pictures and stories. But this was released early on, 1964. Here's a postcard showing the Stones arriving at the airport in 1964, And I was fortunate enough to have Charlie Watts later on sign this for me when I saw him in concert in recent years. So aside from vinyl, the first album came out in other formats. This is a reel-to-reel of the Rolling Stones, England's newest hitmakers. Same track selection. And if we open the box, you can see that in a blue label we've got all the songs listed, same running order, same side 1 and side 2, but this is the reel-to-reel, 3 3/4 inches per second speed, which is pretty slow. Here's a promotional Rolling Stones guitar that was released back in around 1964. You could see all the faces of the 5 original members. This one is sealed. It's got the plastic strings and it says Rolling Stones on it. This is a pretty neat item to have, Rolling Stones guitar. So aside from all the hundreds and hundreds of books, there's hundreds and hundreds of magazines as well. And this is Big Beat, and as you could see, it has a picture, color picture of the Rolling Stones on the front cover, and it's got a lot of nice articles and things in this magazine. It's a pretty big magazine, color photos as well, Big Beat. This is another Big Beat magazine from 1964. This time the Stones are featured, but only in a smaller way. You could see their 5 heads on the front of the magazine color, along with Freddie and the Dreamers. This was only 35 cents back in the day. To coincide with the first U.S. tour in 1964, the Stones hastily put together their 1964 tour program. This one is pink in color, and they made a mistake on the inside and put Brian's name under Mick's picture, and vice versa. They put Mick's name under Brian's picture, and they put Mick Jagger's picture over Brian's name. And I'll show you in a second how that was done. But this is the pink one, the original. And then later, the blue version, the Rolling Stones in blue, the 1964 program, was released in blue. And if you look on the inside, we could see there's Mick's name under Mick's head, and here's Brian's name under Brian's head. This was the re-release. But prior to that, on the pink one, and I have an autographed copy here that I got from a record dealer in California, you could see on the pink one, you've got Mick's name underneath Brian's head. And interesting enough, this one is signed by Brian Jones, but even more interesting is that Brian squiggled out Mick's name. You see that? Brian squiggled out Mick's name, and then he signed it. Mick Jagger did the same thing. You could see Brian's name under Mick's head. So what Mick did, he didn't squiggle. Mick just put a line right through Brian's name, and then Mick Jagger signed it next to his face, but Brian's name underneath that he crossed out. Bill was done correctly, Charlie was done correctly, and Keith was done correctly. But this is how it was in the first pink program that was done incorrectly. In 1964, the Rolling Stones appeared in California on the Tammy Show, and this is a poster from the movie, and you can see Bill Wyman there, and a list of all the other acts, including James Brown, who went on right before the Stones, and the Beach Boys, and Chuck Berry. But this is a poster from the Tammy Show. Just going back a little to London, 1963. This is the Stones' first single. We'll put them on the charts. Come On. And the flip side, I Want to Be Loved, on Decca Records. Come on. Around the same time as England's newest hitmakers, an album of multiple groups, a promo album, came out called England's Greatest Hitmakers, with various artists And this one happens to be a mono copy, and it has the promo sticker, promo copy, not for sale, on the cover. And this is the white label promo of England's greatest hit makers. And it has the Rolling Stones doing Surprise, Surprise on side 1. And they do not appear on side 2. So it's just the one song. But this is the white label mono promo, England's greatest hit makers. Alright, in 1964 the Rolling Stones put out a second album called 12 by 5 on London Records, and this one is a mono cover, mono copy. There's a bunch of different label variations on the red London with most of the Stones albums from the 60s. This one is just a common London in a box, closed London, red label for 12 by 5. This is the flip side to the cover of 12 by 5. Alright, so this looks like a typical Rolling Stones 12 by 5 mono cover, but actually it's not. This was a record store display for record stores to promote the album, and instead of the Rolling Stones pictures and song titles being on the back, if you flip it, you could see that it has, and this has not been broken apart, but this has a stand that folds out to display on a counter. It's a countertop display of the Rolling Stones promotion 12. So there it is. So then if you flip it over, it looks just like a regular album on the other side. And of course 12 by 5 came out in stereo as well. Most of the stereo ones they're blue labels with London in a box, but this is an open London, London in script 12 by 5. Not as common, this particular label variation. And here are some of the picture sleeves, also from 1964. This is Tell Me, back with I Just Want to Make Love to You. This sleeve's in pretty good condition. We flip it over, you can see there's information for starting a Rolling Stones fan club for the Tell Me picture sleeve. This is Time Is on My Side, back with Congratulations. Same on both sides. Very nice copy. It's All Over Now. And you could see also that you could start a Rolling Stones fan club by getting this 45 as well. Same picture on both sides. It's All Over Now. This is the orange label London promo for Tell Me. You can see it says promotional copy, not for sale. And if you flip it over, it has I Just Want to Make Love to You, promotional copy. This is the orange label promo copy, Time Is on My Side. And the flip side is Congratulations, spelled correctly with a T on the 45, but it's incorrectly spelled with a D on the album. But this is the promo for Time Is on My Side. The 12 by 5 also came in a reel-to-reel with the same cover as the album and the song titles on the back. And you can see, just like the album, Congratulations is spelled with a D, which they later used for all their re-releases over the years. And of course, here is the actual reel with the titles, and let's see how is Congratulations spelled. Even on the reel-to-reel they corrected it, so it's got a T on the actual tape but a D on the box. One of my favorite collectibles from the 60s are the jukebox EPs. So this looks like the 12 by 5 album cover. It says 12 by 5. It's stereo, but it's blank on the back. This is not a record store display, but this is a jukebox EP. And the jukebox EP has multiple songs, 3 songs on a side. And this is in pretty good shape. So there's 3 songs on each side for the EP. And interesting, these EPs often come with, if you could find them, the jukebox strips that go into the jukebox that name all of the songs. So this one has four different strips, and sometimes they come with little minis, little miniature cover that go into the jukebox as well. So this is a 12 by 5 mini. You can see it's a little bit bigger than my thumb. So as you can see, there were a lot of cool releases from 1964. This is not really a collectible, but just a little novelty item. A clock made out of the photo from the picture sleeve. Time is on my side. Very clever. Most Rolling Stones records are 7-inch or 12-inch in size, but this is a 10-inch record from Germany. This is from a German record club, and this is on Decca Records, called Beat Beat Beat. And it's a pretty neat record, kind of rare. Maybe you've seen it before, but this is the songs that are on the Beat Beat Beat. A lot of them from the first album and the 12 by 5 collection. The Beat 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 is on the Maroon Decca label from Germany. This is a newspaper ad from the show, the Clay Cole Saturday Show, and they were featuring the Stones and the Beatles on WPIX Channel 11 in New York. This Talk album was put out late 64-65, featuring interviews with Ed Rudy, a promotional piece. This one is a sealed copy. It does have an orange label and has interviews with all the Stones. One of the first interviews they did in America. And then you can see on the back, it talks about Ed Rudy and the Stones and their tour of America. One of the rarer picture sleeves in the Rolling Stones collection from early 1965. This is Heart of Stone on the London label. These are pretty hard to find, especially in good condition. The promo orange label 45 of Heart of Stone on London Records, the orange swirl, and the flip side being What a Shame. Here are some examples of some very early 64-65 little promotional trading cards for the Stones. This one has Charlie Watts, and the back of the card, as we could see, just says it's Charlie Watts with the Rolling Stones. This is number 8 in a series. I've got quite a few more, just a few examples. Here's Bill with Brian, and we also have Brian and Charlie and the boys. The back of this card, number 30. Here's a group shot of them coming off the airplane on this trading card. And a rare one, it has Keith Richards behind the drum set there. So some rare trading cards from 64-65. In early 65, this was the Stones' next album, called Rolling Stones Now on London Records. This is a mono version. And on the back, there's pictures of the group. And the early copies made reference to hitting a blind man over the head and stealing from him. Later issues deleted that little paragraph, but this is the Rolling Stones Now. The Rolling Stones records in mono in the United States had so many label variations on so many of their albums. I'll just give you a sampling of the different label variations for the Rolling Stones Now. This was the first issue on Maroon label London, open London in script, with the full frequency range recording ear label, and you've got two parallel lines running across that say full frequency range recording. So this is just one example of the label variation. This variation of Now has London in a box with the full frequency range recording ear label. Another variation, 2 horizontal lines with nothing written in the center. Open script, London Maroon, the Now album. The more common London Now, London in a box on red vinyl, red label, black vinyl, red label, long playing. This version of Now is more maroonish in color, but it's open London script, no box, says long playing, no horizontal lines. Sometimes these albums will say side 2 with the number. Sometimes it'll say side 2 lettering, TWO. There's so many label variations. This is just a sampling of one particular album and some of the variations. And this is more of a maroon London in a box, long playing. It says side 2. The number 2 is under the word side as opposed to being to the right side. Another variation. Sometimes the song titles are left margined, like this one. Sometimes they're centered. Sometimes they're labeled 1 to 6 or 1 to 5. Sometimes there's no numbers at all. There's many variations, especially to this album Now. Even the stereo label has a few variations. This particular one is open London script with stereophonic written across. Most of the more common London stereos on the blue label have the London in a box, in a horizontal box. But this is a stereo, less common, harder to find, open London label stereo for the record Now. Now this is one of the most rare records that I have, and one that you've probably never seen and never will see. Normally the blue label is reserved for the stereo pressings, but this is a mono London Now with a blue label, and it says long playing, but you can see the serial number LL3420 is the mono pressing. Most monos are maroon or red, and all the stereos are blue, either with the London in a box or open London script. But this is an impossible to find, very rare Rolling Stones Now in mono on a blue label, London in a box, long playing mono. Here's the picture sleeve for the next single, The Last Time, back with Play With Fire. Same picture on both sides. The promo Orange Swirl 45 for The Last Time, promotional copy. And on the flip side, Play With Fire, Orange Swirl promo. This is the regular released single of The Last Time, the first issue, which is in purple and white, the London purple and white label. This was the last single to be issued in purple or white. After that, everything was the blue swirl. And this is the original London sleeve. So this is The Last Time, backed with Play With Fire. And they discontinued the purple and white label as they went into the 60s. And then the more traditional release is the blue London swirl. Some of them say distributed by London Records, some of them do not say that. But this is the regular release of The Last Time on the more common London blue swirl, backed with Play With Fire on the other side. After the album Now, the next big album released in the United States was Out of Our Heads on London Records. This is a in-store promo cardboard display announcing the new Stones album. The new Rolling Stones LP just released on London Records. Out of Our Heads. The backside was blank Out of Our Heads. Out of Our Heads also had many label variations. The mono was in red or maroon, and an open London script, or London in a box, and this one also has London in a box with the ear label. There's a very clean copy of the stereo version. Notice this is true stereo, not electronically reprocessed. And a very rare label variation of the stereo is it's very hard to find London in a box full frequency range recording ear label, but this is the blue label stereo, not mono. This one is harder to find. Stereo variation of Out of Our Heads, London in script, no box, long playing, stereophonic, Out of Our Heads. In England, Out of Our Heads was not a common record to find. It was issued on the Decca label, and this one came with a sticker announcing the single Satisfaction. The Decca mono Out of Our Heads, open Decca on the full frequency range recording ear label. So this was from London on Decca Records, mono, red label. One of my favorite sleeves, and pretty hard to find, especially in excellent mint condition like this. The American 45 picture sleeve, I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Same on both sides on London Records. A couple different versions of the 45 promo of Satisfaction. It says promotional copy with a star. And of course the flip side, the Under Assistant West Coast promo man. A variation of the 45 promo orange swirl label for Satisfaction. This is the flip side, the Under Assistant West Coast promo man. And the A side does not have the star, but of course it was very common for DJs back in the 60s to put X's on the sides that they were supposed to play. So many promos have markings on them from the DJ, but this is the promo 45 orange swirl of Satisfaction. The picture sleeve for Get Off My Cloud, same as all the 45 picture sleeves, same on both sides on London. In late '65 in America, the next album was December's Children and Everybody's. This is a mono version. Many of them came with stickers announcing the next single. This is saying it's got the smash hit Get Off of My Cloud. And most all of the December Children mono or stereo in the back have a black background with white lettering. And it's hard to see some of the pictures, the faces in the back, but this is the common black back with the white lettering for December's Children. But here's something you've never seen before, and maybe you won't ever see again. The very rare, ultra rare December's Children in mono, but this has the white background with black lettering. And these are the reverse images. So the stones look like they're in different colors. So this is one of my rarest albums in my collection. Perhaps you've never seen or heard anything about this before. This particular one comes from Canada. It's got the same picture on the front, but the back is the white background with black lettering. Reverse image. This is the Canadian maroon label, London in a Box, full frequency range recording ear label. And this is in mono, has the mono serial number. This is the album that came with the reverse back. This is the tour program for 1965. They got this one right. There were no errors as far as I know. This was in full color. Same picture on both sides, but it does have some nice pictures on the inside of Keith and Mick and Charlie and Brian. So this was the 1965 tour program. Here's some examples of sheet music for both guitar, piano, for the Stones in the 60s. This one, Sounds of the Rolling Stones, has various songs, black and white concert shot on the back. Very nice songbook. This is, next one, I have some sheet music. This is Get Off of My Cloud, The Singer Not the Song, which is from the English review release. In America it was I'm Free, but in England, The Singer Not the Song, distributed by Mirage. This is sheet music, Get Off of My Cloud. And this one is sheet music for The Last Time Back with Play With Fire. It's got the Now cover, even though those songs weren't released on that particular album. They were on Out of Our Heads. But this is sheet music. Out of Our Heads was one of the albums that was released as a jukebox EP. So it has the same cover as the Out of Our Heads release. It's blank on the back, but many of them, all of them, come with little strips to put in the jukebox, and they also come with little mini thumbnail album size pictures. I don't have that one for this particular album. And this is a sample. This is the stereo Out of Our Heads. 3 songs on side 1 and 3 songs on side 2. So this is the Open London script stereo jukebox EP Out of Our Heads. This is the December's Children jukebox EP. Same picture on the cover of the album. Just like all the jukebox EPs, they're blank on the back. Here is the EP, Open London Stereo. We have 3 songs on the first side and 3 songs on the second side. So that's the December's Children Jukebox EP. This one I don't have title strips, but I do have minis. So these are miniature December Children's that went into the jukebox. There they go. From the 65 tour, here are some ticket stubs. This one, May 16th, 1965, from Los Angeles. And this one is from Convention Hall in Philadelphia on Saturday, November 6th. Nothing on the back. Good ticket stubs, they're hard to find. These are some rare photographs and a ticket stub from the Stones show in Montreal, Canada. This was on Sunday, October 31st, 1965. Rolling Stones, October 31st, 65. This one I got with some pictures from that night at the Maple Leaf Gardens. There's Mick singing and Brian playing his guitar. This is the reel-to-reel of the Rolling Stones now. And this is a picture of the tape with the blue label. Hard to find these. The reel-to-reel of Out of Our Heads. And here's the label for the reel-to-reel Out of Our Heads. The reel-to-reel of December's Children. This has information on the back. Some of them don't have much on the back. This one does have the song listings and the similar write-up. This doesn't have any pictures, so this is a white background with black lettering, but no pictures. And this is the tape label for the Reel-to-Reel December's Children. 1966, we start out with a newspaper article from New Jersey, Star Ledger, about the Stones concert at Forest Hills Tennis Stadium in New York. That was held on July 2nd with the McCoys, the Standells, and you can see the other artists for the other dates for the rest of the summer of '66. And here's the seating chart for Forest Hills Tennis Stadium. And look at the ticket prices. And the other side of this article has some information about security for the Stones coming up for the tour, and a picture of the band as well. In 1966, they released their first Big Hits album, Big Hits, High Tide and Green Grass. This is a sealed stereo copy, and it's got the promo sticker that lists all the songs, plus of course the 8 pages of photos. This is a common album, but this is a sealed one. Another sealed album from '66, Aftermath, which included Painted Black. Again, a common album, but sealed. Here's a 45 picture sleeve, As Tears Go By. Same picture on both sides. 19th Nervous Breakdown picture sleeve. Same picture on both sides. Very clean copy. Have You Seen Your Mother Baby Standing in the Shadow? Also released in 1966. Back with Who's Driving Your Plane. And on the other side is a different picture. This is that famous shot they did in New York City where they all dressed up in drag. Have You Seen Your Mother Baby? Here's Painted Black. A real good clean copy with nice corners. Same picture on both sides. Has the London logo. There's a rare version that I have that does not have a logo. Here's the picture sleeve for Mother's Little Helper. Back with Lady Jane. Same on both sides. From the Aftermath album cover. Here's some 45 Orange Swirl London promos. Have You Seen Your Mother Baby? Back with Who's Driving My Plane? Otherwise known as Who's Driving Your Plane? 19th Nervous Breakdown promo, Not For Sale. And on the B-side was the, at the time, non-album available song, Sad Day. The promo, As Tears Go By. Back with Gotta Get Away. The promo 45 for Painted Black. And on the flip side, Stupid Girl from Aftermath. And here's Mother's Little Helper promotional copy. And on the flip side, Lady Jane. This is the England's version on Decca Records of Aftermath. Different picture, different color. And the flip side has, the back has different pictures as well. This is the mono version. And you can see Aftermath from England is on Decca Records. This is a red label, open Decca with the full frequency range recording, made in England. This is the tour program, the American tour program for 1966. And it's the same photo as the Aftermath album. Same color photo on the front and the back, but the inside pictures are all black and white. So there's some nice pictures of the band. There's Brian and Keith, all black and white photos on the inside, but this is the American Tour Program 1966. This is sheet music from the Rolling Stones' big hits, High Tide and Green Grass. Same color photo on the front and the back as the album, and the inside has the same songs, and the inside pictures, we'll take a look at the inside picture, are pretty much the same as the inside pictures on the album. There's a picture of Brian, and we've got Charlie and Mick. Same pictures as the album, but this is the sheet music for big hits, High Tide and Green Grass. This is sheet music just for the one song, Have You Seen Your Mother, Baby, Standing in the Shadow, with an alternate picture. 19th Nervous Breakdown, sheet music, all in black and white. And here's sheet music for As Tears Go By. Same on the back. And we've got the score, the music on the inside. This is one of my favorite and rarest, and you probably haven't seen before, albums. Got Live If You Want It, in mono. Everybody has this one, of course. This is the typical Got Live If You Want It red label mono, London in a box. This is the typical rear. This is another album, but this is the typical rear of Got Live If You Want It, where we have the band and we have the song listings and we have some other information on the bottom of the album. However, what makes this one of a kind and so rare that maybe you haven't seen before is if you flip it over, there's nothing. There's no writing. It's just a picture of the band. No song titles, no album title. And if you look closely on the bottom, it does say London Records in New York. And it does say Made in USA. Now you may have seen what I call a blank back. You may have seen this in Canada, because all of the Canadian releases of Got Live If You Want It look similar in that they don't have the title of the album or the song titles, but that's the Canadian version. They all are blank, but this is the only known version of an American London Records Made in USA blank back Got Live If You Want It. One of my rarest albums and one of my most favorite. And just to compare, normally it says Got Live If You Want It with the song titles. This particular album, though, is a mispress, another rare, fun album. I have a lot of mispress. The back is Got Live If You Want It, but when we flip it, lo and behold, it's December's Children, a mispress. I have a whole set of mispress and misprints, which are fun to collect as well. Now, this is one of my most rarest records and hard to find. This is an acetate. This is made out of a special lacquer. Acetates are made just to be played a few times. They're kind of like test pressings that are given to the band or record company execs just to test it out. But this particular one, 19th Nervous Breakdown, in stereo, was never really released. A simulated stereo version was released. There's bootleg versions with stereo, and of course there's the mono version of 19th Nervous Breakdown. But this particular Bell acetate has an unreleased stereo version. And like most acetates, the flip side is blank, non-playable. One of my most prized possessions. Here's another very rare, one-of-a-kind acetates. This is a 10-inch acetate on ATV Kirshner Records from March of '66. This is a 6-track, one-sided Aftermath with various cuts from Aftermath. It's 10-inch, 45 RPM. It's blank on the back as far as being able to play it, but this has some writing on the back. But another one of my very rare records, Aftermath 10-inch acetate. Here's an EMI disc acetate 10-inch single of Lady Jane, 3 minutes and 2 seconds. In very good condition, nice and shiny. Very rare. It says Control on it. And of course the flip side is blank, nothing is on it. But very rare, Lady Jane 10-inch acetate. Perhaps one of a kind or just a few of a kind in the world. Here's the Big Hits High Tide and Green Grass Reel to Reel with the song titles on the back. Big Hits Reel to Reel song listings. This is the Aftermath Reel to Reel, same cover as the released album in stereo. Different back cover, different font, some different things. Song titles listed a little bit in a different font going across. Here's the song listings. And this is the Got Live If You Want It reel-to-reel tape in stereo. And the back has the same cover as the album with the song titles and the title of the album. The interesting thing about a reel-to-reel of Got Live If You Want It, or the cassette if you have it, it's the only way to get a true clean version of the Under My Thumb from the Royal Albert Hall, because when this was re-released on CD in the 80s, we got a different version from Bristol, England, of Under My Thumb. So you could have a scratchy vinyl of this version, or the only way to get a true clean Under My Thumb is on tape. And this Got Live If You Want It reel-to-reel has a clean original, as you've heard, Under My Thumb. Here's another version of Got Live If You Want It. This one's called Have You Seen Your Mother Live? This is a Japanese version of the record. It's on London Records. It's got the same track listing. The back cover, however, is a different back cover, a different group shot. And the inside has the song titles. Here's an old picture. A lot of things written in Japanese. And we've got the words in English, but some of the song titles are in Japanese. This is a stereo version, the Japanese version, on Open Script London full frequency stereophonic sound. And it came with an insert as well, Have You Seen Your Mother Live? And different shades of pictures on the inside. Some writing in Japanese. So interesting having this from Japan as well. We start off 1967 with the Rolling Stones double-sided single, Let's Spend the Night Together, and Ruby Tuesday. Same picture on both sides, same picture as the album Between the Buttons. This is the Between the Buttons album, but it's from Israel on Pax Records. And unlike the American and UK version, we've got the Between the Buttons symbols on the front. The back cover is the same with Charlie Watts' drawings, but it's on Pax Records. And this is the label, red label, made in Israel on Pax Records for Between the Buttons. This is a special edition Between the Buttons on yellow vinyl on Decca Records with a different sticker on the front, and this is what the record looks like. Clear yellow vinyl stereo Between the Buttons. The double-sided promo 45 on Orange Swirl, Let's Spend the Night Together, and the other side, Ruby Tuesday. Here's the reel-to-reel of Between the Buttons with Charlie's drawing on the flip side. Later in '67, the Stones released Flowers, kind of a compilation hits, but it had some songs that weren't on previous albums or songs that were only on albums from England. This is the reel-to-reel, and it's got a black and white reel cover, same track listing as the album. This is one of my favorite and rarest picture sleeves. These are very hard to find. This is from their another double-sided single, Dandelion and We Love You. It's a black and white sleeve, same picture on the other side, but very hard to find, especially in good condition. And the double-sided promo 45 Dandelion promotional copy, and the flip side We Love You on the London Orange Swirl with the orange American London Group sleeve. And this is the Dandelion and We Love You sheet music for those two songs. This is in black and yellow. Very hard to find the sheet music for Dandelion and We Love You. Of course, in 1967, the Rolling Stones released a controversial album, a psychedelic album, their Satanic Majesties Request, which has been reissued many a time. And of course, the original came with the movable Vari view on the front cover. Everybody's got these, but what makes this album interesting to me is that there are a couple label variations in stereo and well over a dozen variations in the harder to find rare mono version. So this is your typical Satanic Majesties stereo, blue label, London in a box, stereophonic, written right across. Everybody, or many people, have this. But what's harder to find is the Satanic Majesties stereo, blue label, London in a box, but it says long playing, doesn't say stereophonic, similar to the style of a mono record. But this is in stereo because it has the NPS for stereo. But this is a much harder version to find. It doesn't say stereophonic, it says long playing, but it is the stereo version of their Satanic Majesties Request. But one of my favorite things about collecting their Satanic Majesties Request is the rare mono version with the mono mix. But what's intriguing about it is the multiple array of label variations, and I'm going to try to run through those label variations quickly for you. This is maroon mono, London in a box. The song titles are left margined and they're not numbered, and this says back side and front side. This is maroon, London in a box, but the songs are centered and they are not numbered also backside, front side. This is Maroon in a Box. Songs are centered, but the songs are numbered 1 to 5. Again, backside, front side. This one is Red in a Box. No, the songs are centered and they're not numbered on the left, front side, back side. This is Maroon, London in a Box. Songs are left margined, little different font, front side, back side, and they are not numbered. Made in USA. A little harder to see, but this is Red London mono. The songs are left margin but not numbered, and this is front side, back side. This has a larger font, and the songs are left margin but not numbered, and you can see where NP2 is a different font than previous ones. Slight variation. This is the Canadian one, full frequency range recording, Maroon label mono, left margin. Songs are numbered, and also this says side 1 and side 2 with the number as opposed to front side, back side. This is Maroon. Songs are centered. They are not numbered on the left, front side, back side, and a larger NP2. This is Maroon mono, but it says side 1 with the number. The songs are centered and the songs are numbered. This one doesn't say Made in USA. Other ones from the USA say Made in USA. This is Red mono, London in a Box. Songs are centered, but they are not numbered. And this has backside written on the top of NP2. Sometimes it's to the left of the spindle. This one is to the right of the spindle. Another variation of spindle side where the sides are written. This one's a little harder to read, but it's London Maroon mono. Songs are centered and numbered. Side 1 with the number 1 underneath the NP2, the serial number of the album. And this one says Made in USA to the right of the spindle. There were a couple of singles released from Satanic Majesties. This is 2000 Light Years from Home. Back with She's a Rainbow. Well, She's a Rainbow was the single, and 2000 Light Years from Home was the flip side. And here we have a little jukebox insert as well. And Bill Wyman released his single from Satanic Majesties, In Another Land, back with the lantern. Same picture on both sides. Here's the promo copy for the single She's a Rainbow with a star, and the flip side 2000 Light Years from Home. And Bill Wyman's promo 45, In Another Land, promotional with the star, and the flip side, the lantern. This one distributed by London Records. Not all of them say distributed by London Records. This is the songbook, sheet music for their Satanic Majesties request. A little bit different of a picture. It's got the front cover inside of the puzzle, and the back has the psychedelic space stuff that's on the inside of the album. But this is the songbook for their Satanic Majesties request. And even Bill Wyman's single had sheet music, In Another Land and The Lantern. 2 hits with Bill Wyman. Now there were 2 different reel-to-reels for Satanic Majesties, and actually this one, which does not have the 3-dimensional vari view, is the rarer of the 2. This kind of looks like the album with the blue border and the white sky, and it's got a similar back of the album cover. And this is the reel-to-reel for their Satanic Majesties, for the one that has the regular cover. And this is the reel-to-reel with the VariView 3D encompassing the whole cover of the reel-to-reel box. Same back cover. And same labeling on the reel itself. And here's the very rare and hard to find Satanic Majesties Jukebox EP. So this has the same album cover photo, but these did not come with the VariView 3D. And the back is blank, but this is the front in a hard cardboard cover. And the actual EP has 3 songs on side 2, and looking over on the other side, the side 1 only has 2 songs. So this is a 5-song jukebox EP compared to most of the others have the 6. This is Open London script, and this particular one comes with a nice set of the jukebox strips. So the jukebox strips, this one is interesting that it comes on a sheet. Only one is missing, otherwise it's a full, well, I actually have the other one, but it's not attached. But this is a sheet of the jukebox strips, and this one also comes with a bunch of minis, the miniature size album covers for the jukebox. The back of them are blank. So this one is pretty neat. It's very rare to have the Satanic Majesties, but to have multiple minis and a whole sheet of the jukebox strips is very interesting, along with the record and the cover. 1968, the Stones jump back to rock and roll after Satanic Majesties with the new single Jumpin' Jack Flash. This is the nice picture sleeve, and the flip side is the reverse, them looking the other way, and has Child of the Moon on the back. But this is the Jumpin' Jack Flash Child of the Moon picture sleeve. There are a couple different versions of the promo 45. This is a promotional copy with a black star, but notice it doesn't say stereo. And the flip side, of course, is Child of the Moon. Promotional copy, no star, no stereo. Here's the rare one. It's promotional copy with the star, but this says stereo. These are very, very hard to find. Has a lot of writing on this one. And the other side, Child of the Moon, also in stereo. Of course, the big album for 1968 was Beggars Banquet. It was mostly released in stereo with the same cover in the US and in UK, but there are some very rare mono ones with label variations as well. This one is from the UK on Decca, and of course some of them have written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, all songs, and later pressings took them out for some of the tracks that they didn't write, like Prodigal Son. So here's the rare mono Beggars Banquet. There was no mono in the US, only in the UK. This is open Decca, and it says side 1 to the left of the spindle, full frequency range recording ear label. Notice that side 1 is to the left of the spindle. And here's the alternate mono with side 1 to the right of the spindle, but still open Decca, full frequency range recording. This one comes in the red mono sleeve, but we got the spindle variation. And another strange variation of the Decca England mono Beggars Banquet. Look at the song listings. Sympathy for the Devil, No Expectations go left to right instead of straight up and down like the other versions. And even on the flip side, Street Fighting Man and Prodigal Son are 1 and 2 left and right instead of up and down. Another mono label variation. And just a sample of what Beggars Banquet looks like in other countries. Here in Spanish, O Banquet de Mendigos. And it's got a different label as well. But this is a foreign Beggars Banquet. This is the Beggars Banquet reel to reel. Same as the album cover. And on the back, it's the same. All songs written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. There was no reel-to-reel version where their names were taken out. This particular reel-to-reel has a white label on the reel. Unlike all the others, which were blue, this one is white. Here's the songbook for Beggars Banquet. This is sheet music for a street fighting man. It's got a different picture, two men fighting on the front, and the back just says the Essex Music Group. Street Fighting Man was released as a single. Here's the promotional copy with the black star, and the flip side, No Expectations. Of course, the picture sleeve for Street Fighting Man is impossible to find. This is actually a copy. And the flip side, No Expectations, showing the street riot in front of the 1968 Democratic Convention. Perhaps you've never seen this before. This is a bootleg, alternate Street Fighting Man picture sleeve, showing a man giving the finger with orange eyes. And the flip side is the same. It says Street Fighting Man with the same picture. This one didn't come with a different record. This was just issued as a bootleg, alternate Street Fighting Man sleeve, which you may or may not have ever seen before. In 1969, the Stones released their second greatest hits compilation, Through the Past Darkly, otherwise known as Big Hits, Volume 2. This came mostly with the octagon shape. This is a sealed copy that I have, so it has not ever been opened. And notice that it's original. It doesn't have the barcodes which came out in the 1980s. No barcodes or computer-generated sales back in '69. So this is a sealed octagon, Through the Past Darkly. Actually, even rarer than the common octagon is the full square Through the Past Darkly. This is another one of my sealed copies. And you can see again on the back, there's no barcode. This is original 1969 sealed Through the Past Darkly, but all four corners are intact. These are much harder to find on the original label, London Records. Now, Through the Past Darkly was only released in stereo in the US, but in the UK it was available in stereo and mono. So here's the rare mono octagon inner sleeve, and here's a label variation. This is Open Decca Red Mono Full Frequency Range Recording, and notice that this has side 1 to the right of the spindle. Another rare UK mono, Through the Past Darkly. Notice that this has side 1 to the left of the spindle. Same red label, Open Decca Full Frequency Range Recording ear label, but the spindle variation of the very rare mono Through the Past Darkly. One of the rarest Rolling Stones records ever to be released was this promotional for radio station use only, called the promotional album. There were about 200 copies released on London Records in the US and about 200 copies on Decca released in England. This one I have framed because it's one of my rarest and sought after records. I have the cover in a frame, and you could see that it says a special radio promotion album, a limited edition, not for sale. And this is what the promotional record looks like. It's a blue label in stereo. A little hard to see. We'll try to focus it in there. RSD1, made in the USA, not for sale. Of course, the Stones toured America in '69. The '69 American tour. This is the program for the '69 tour. It's very large, album sized. Has the same picture on the back. The inside has both color and black and white photos. And of course, the '69 tour was to promote their forthcoming album, Let It Bleed, and their new single, Honky Tonk Woman. This is the 45 picture sleeve for Honky Tonk Woman, Stones in a Bar. And the flip side, You Can't Always Get What You Want. Same picture, different song title, on London Records. Here's the promotional 45. It says promotional copy, not for sale, Honky Tonk Woman, with a star. This is in mono, the more common version, and the flip side, You Can't Always Get What You Want. This is the rarer Honky Tonk Woman promo 45 in stereo. Very hard to find. More commonly in mono on the promo. And the flip side, still, You Can't Always Get What You Want in stereo. The album Let It Bleed was released in both the US and in the UK. And it was only released in stereo in the US. It was released in stereo and mono, rare mono, in the UK. This is the US London version. This is a sealed copy. It does have a promo punch, but this is a never opened sealed version of You Can't Always Get What You Want, included, and Honky Tonk Woman on the album Let It Bleed, sealed, stereo. This is the Let It Bleed Decca version on Decca Records, and you can see it has, just like in America, it included the same full color poster. And I'll open up the inside to show you. It has the red mono. This is a mono version with the red mono inner sleeve. So this is Let It Bleed UK Decca, red label mono, full frequency range recording ear label. And notice it has side 1 to the left of the spindle. Another record with a label variation. And the other variation, same mono Let It Bleed, but side 1 to the right of the spindle. Spindle variations on many records. This is Let It Bleed mono, rare mono from the UK on Decca Records. And just like in the US, the UK version came with a poster, but the UK version did say Decca on it. I'm not going to open this one up too much. I'm sure you've all seen the poster for Let It Bleed. It's the same poster, only it says Decca on it in the UK. But what you probably have never seen before, or don't have, is this very rare Rolling Stones catalog on Decca, which came with only very few of the UK Decca Let It Bleeds. And the back has a cover of the Stones on the back of it. This was to promote their record catalog. So this is what it looks like on the inside. This is the centerfold of the rare promo catalog from Let It Bleed. And another couple pages with Bill Wyman and Mick Taylor and pictures of the Stones albums from their catalog. So this is very rare Rolling Stones complete catalog, only issued with some of the UK Decca Let It Bleed albums. Like all Stones albums, the Let It Bleed album came with a songbook as well. Same picture as the album on both the front cover and the back cover. All the songs are in here in tablature form. Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed songbook. Perhaps you've seen this before, but maybe not. This was a promotional card advertising to become a member of the Rolling Stones fan club. This was slipped in to some of the albums. It was mostly in the albums that were released in 1969. These little slip-ins came in Through the Past Darkly and also Let It Bleed. They didn't come in all the albums, so these are kind of somewhat hard to find, somewhat rare. This one's in really good shape. It's got very crisp, clean borders. There's nothing on the back. It was just a black and white picture that was taken in Hyde Park in 1969 and inserted into some of the albums. Well, that concludes the Rolling Stones Museum of New Jersey, the 1960s. As you could see, there's plenty more, and I'm going to be covering the 1970s, the 1980s, and the 90s, and beyond. There's quite a bit more that I'd like to show you. I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to having you watch my next videos in the near future. The Rolling Stones Museum of New Jersey. This was the 1960s, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you very much for watching.